Okay, now I'm a little taller, but tell me if you can you hear me? Is that a yes or a no? That's a yes. That's a no. Is it better? If I hold this, is this better? Okay. 1 second. Is this better? All right, all right. My name's John Leahy. I'm with Solomon Cordwell Benz Architects, and I'm here to talk about a building a little further south, 1130. Okay, 1130 State. Is that better? Just yell louder, and I'll respond. Solomon Cordwell Benz is a firm that's been around Chicago for a long time, over 80 years. We're responsible for many of the buildings in your neighborhood. There's some listed on the left, State and Chestnut with Newcastle is of course one, but 4 East Elm across the street, we were the architects for that. Other buildings in Chicago, the Legacy, the Crate and Barrel Store, the Loyola Business School, just right in this neighborhood here. State and Chestnut over there was another one of ours. So we're very, we know the neighborhood and we know Chicago. There's even some 1555 Astor and 1418 Lakeshore Drive, so it goes very far back. And we do the housing. We're very experienced with the housing and also fitting that into the urban fabric, which we do all over the country because we work coast to coast, and we get a lot of experience in terms of different cities and how to fit buildings in. What I'm here to talk about is, can you see this dot? Okay. 1200 right here was the building that Keith was talking about. I'm here to talk about this site here. Now this site is a little different in that the site is it's a planned development, and the site encompasses not only the corner but also Lou Malinotti's and across the street as well. It's all part of one zoning lot, and on that lot our proposal is to leave the Lou Malinotti's, and the building under construction here would be it's a 3-story building, and that would remain obviously as well since it's not even done yet. This shows you the existing conditions. It shows you the 10 West Elm, a larger building. Shows the buildings here, the Lou Malinotti's. Looking west on Elm Street, you can see this is of course under construction right now, and the condominium building here, and the existing building, and then higher, taller buildings beyond it. This is it was talked about before about how the different scales, the different, this is a neighborhood that has a lot of contrast, and the contrast is up to Newbury, 53 stories, 1 East Oak, 39. There's 24-story buildings adjacent, 32, 30, and then our building is here next to the Viceroy, adjacent to Viceroy, which is 18 stories. But there's also 2-story, 1-story buildings. There's all sorts of stuff. So when we're looking at this, the building that we're proposing is it's 368 units, and it's 39 stories tall. So it's in the neighborhood of Oak Street building or some of that type of scale. And this does not require. This is under the existing zoning, and this is the use that is permitted on this site. And then we looked at the, just in general, the State Street right there it's a commercial street. I mean, it's not like 2 blocks to the east or any, places around it. Each little neighborhood is really unique in this. And in this one, they're tall buildings, they're short buildings, they're mixed, and there's a lot of vitality to it. I mean, but there is consistent, even when there are tall and short buildings, there is a street level, a commercial level that is articulated and really makes up the streetscape that you experience as you walk around the neighborhood. Still hear me? Can you still hear me? And then we start looking at the site, this particular site. It's a corner building at the corner of Elm and State. Very important. There's the existing 10 West Elm. This is a vintage building, very strong base right up to the corner, defines the edge, very, very urban, hard urban solution, very traditional. In 4 East Elm, the street level is defined at the edge, but the building is set back. The taller building beyond is set back and done in a different material, so that it really allows you to experience the streetscape. And then there is something up above it, which is is different, and thereby, you know, really articulating itself in its own independent way. The building that is under construction, this is a rendering of it on North State Street on the corner. This is a three-story building, but 2 stories on the street. So this is a lower scale building. And then we have the site here. We have the site that we're talking about. And so the site we're talking about actually includes this area here. But as I said, Lou Malnati's is staying, this building is staying, so we are taking the density that would normally be on those buildings, and we're putting that density on this portion right here. So it does allow more, you know, just as Keith's project had different articulation, this one has different articulation because some older buildings are staying. The one thing.
Barnes and Noble come back?
I'm the architect, so that's for the leasing people after I'm done. If we could wait on that. The edge here, we thought that was very, very important, and so what you'll see is that when we take and I'm going to take you through how we designed the building, but that these edges, these urban edges, we thought were very important to maintain. So how did we go about this? If we take the program and we do a diagram, this is the diagram. The diagram is the residential on top, the podium here with retail and parking, Lou Malnati's, the building across the street. But, you know, that's a very prosaic approach, and it's one that really doesn't address the uniqueness of the neighborhood. So what we did was we did some initial moves. We took the podium and we set the building back, set the residential building back a bit. And we did that so that the line and the scale could continue on through. And then what else did we do? We took the tower itself and we divided it into 2 parts. So it was like 2 interlocking volumes. And we let those volumes be at different heights so that it really increased the slenderness and the proportion of the building that remains. And then after that, we took it and we curved the surfaces, because there's a lot of rigid buildings in this area, and we thought something that softened it would really allow the streetscape to have its own identity and give you something more elegant, more, you know, softer up above. And so, whoops. Sorry, I keep doing that. So that shows the curve and the stepping. And then we also worked a lot on how to really bring through the different levels within the storefronts, the streetscape. And I think you'll see the articulation down in here is there's quite a bit of detail on that. So this is the building that the result of all that. It's a resident. This is the base. Down here, same materials as in the neighborhood. Above that, a building clad in glass. It's broken into 2 smaller pieces, articulated at the rec deck, so that there is an articulation as you move up the building. Curved surfaces, some articulation at the top, but also keeping it very simple. The use of glass throughout really does make it lighter than the other buildings. Some of the buildings, you know, the buildings in the immediate vicinity are all very masonry, very heavy. We thought that as a counterpoint, something lighter would be really welcome in that visually. This shows the building from the south, so it shows the existing building staying, the Viceroy Hotel, the streetscape coming through, and also the tower as it steps down as it goes to the south. And a section that shows the parking, the retail, amenities, and then the tower itself. On this one, you will see later, the retail, we designed it in such a way that it can have a presence that is, it's 2 stories, which is quite a presence, but we have given it extra ceiling height in the upper story so that the entire masonry portion of the base would really have a lot of visual activity. And here, the building that we have designed is right here, the building in question. This is the building to the north, 10 Elm. And you can see how the height is brought through. The base of this relating to the base of our building, Lou Malnati staying, the Viceroy, seeing that those lines come through as well. And then on Elm Street, this is the building right here. You see the building on Elm, the one under construction, the base as you go through, showing the stone-clad base, entrance to the building, more masonry cladding of the podium, and then the existing buildings as you go to the west. And then the views. The views, what does it really look like when you're walking around, when you're in the neighborhood? This one's a view on State looking south. So you see the existing building, the Elm Street building, and then you see the base coming along and really bringing that rhythm through. This is retail. These would all be, this is a retailer, another retail space here, and we are leaving that as the volume of the retail below. This is parking up in this area right here, but it's clad similar to, or the same as the tower, so that it would give a more unified appearance. As you look at it, the retail here, the retail across the street, Lou Malnati's. The entrance to the building is on Elm Street. Vehicular entry right next to it, just off the alley, and loading on the alley. So it's a very simple and straightforward first floor plan. The property line actually goes out into the sidewalk, but the sidewalk will be maintained where it presently is, which is much of which is on private property. This shows the view on Elm. You see the building that's under construction here. You're looking down, you're seeing, you know, the frontage on Elm, but also what the corner would be like and how the retail would fit in with the neighborhood. And then as you go further up, there's activity. This is the amenity level, which would, you know, you would see activity up there, and we did anticipate some planting on the different levels as the building steps back as it goes, as it rises. And then the plan, upper level retail here, could be a variety of different retailers. It really would work for just about anything. And then a view from the south, which shows, again, the context and bringing through the scale of it. It shows the amenity level, shows the curving of the building, of the facade, that it would be a more fluid, graceful building, not a blocky building by any means. This shows the parking, it shows actually some ramps in the parking, but it also shows the very tall space that would look out onto State Street. And then the levels as you go further up, these are certainly diagrammatic. This shows the amenity level, which is at about 80 feet. Amenities, also a roof deck, a park. This shows a general plan of the residential building, very straightforward. But you can see it's not just a box, it's the two shapes interlocking, which will really do a lot to enhance the verticality of the building. And then this is the building in its context. I mean, you see Newberry, and you see the other buildings, 4 East Elm, the building here, the Viceroy. I mean, you see it as part of this collection of buildings on a very commercial street, which this portion of State Street is quite commercial in its character. This shows the two volumes interlocking, and how that really would break down the mass. And then this is just, I mean, this is the context of, where is it? I mean, these buildings are part of our city. The building, obviously the Hancock building, many blocks away, but just seeing the whole range of it, this building planted into an aerial photo that just does show it in terms of it and its neighbors, the buildings going west on Elm Street, the buildings in the foreground, Lakeshore Drive. And that's about it for my presentation. I think Kurt is going to take over from here.